it was Aesop that came up with this fable, but I'm not positive. But it's a story of some blind men, and they came upon an elephant. And one of them saw the leg of the elephant and felt it, and it was rough, and it was really big. And it said, an elephant is like a tree. And another one got the tail of the elephant and felt the tail and said, oh, an elephant is like a rope. And another one got the long trunk of the elephant and said, ooh, an elephant is like a snake. And it goes the tusk and the ears and stuff like that. They all perceive the same thing, one elephant, but they all perceived it differently. And it affected the way that they reacted to it. It affected the way that of what they thought they were in the midst of. Our Torah portion is a lot like that. We had just come out of Egypt, and we were about to go into the land of Israel. And we didn't really know what was going to happen. And God said that we should send a dignitary from each of the tribes, each of the 12 tribes, to go in and take a look at the land and see, is it populous or not too populated? Are the people, are the big armies, are the cities built up? Are they fortified? Do they have walls around them? How about the land? Is it a fertile land? And be sure to bring back some of the fruits. And so the Torah portion starts off by listing all of the 12 dignitaries, leaders, each one in their tribe, which tribe they're from, their name, and the name of their father. And we imagine them marching out with some kind of fanfare and going into the land of Israel. Now, they found incredibly fertile land, and the fruits were amazing. In fact, they found a bunch of grapes that was so big it took 2 people to carry it. And that's the symbol of the tourism office of Israel. It's 2 people standing with a big pole between them and like a triangle thing of grapes hanging down. Shows how fertile the land of Israel is. And they found all kinds of other fruits, but they also found some of the people who were there. And many of them got really scared. And they said, oh my gosh, these people are like giants. We sort of seem like grasshoppers compared to them. And they came back and they told the people that. They said, this is a scary place. Those people are big. And 2 of the scouts said, well, God will be with us. It'll be fine. This is a blessed land. It's really quite lovely. And we have faith that was Joshua and Caleb were the two scouts that said good things about the land. Well, the other 10 got the people so riled up. We were scared. So why would we want to go there? A place of giants? Oh my gosh. And fear really overtook all of the people of Israel. So much so that God said, everyone that's scared isn't going to be allowed to go into this land. You don't want it, you don't get it. And so God said, it'll be 40 years of wandering. We're going to get a new generation to go in. The only 2 people who could go into the land are Joshua, who became our leader after Moses, and Caleb. Those are the only 2. The way that we see something, you might think that the way you perceive something, it's not real, it's just an imaginary pretend kind of thing. But it really affects a lot of stuff. How we perceive things. If we looked at the land of Israel and saw it as scary, don't go in. Run back to Egypt. If you see it as God will be with us, then it's hallelujah. God, praise be God that God is giving us such a beautiful and a wonderful thing and is protecting us as well. Very, very different reactions giving the perception. We have all been in the midst of a pandemic that very few people imagined. Some did, not that we necessarily listened to them, but most of us couldn't have imagined what it's like. How in the world are we going to perceive it? How are we going to come out of this? What are we going to say about it? And how we perceive it very much affects what happens, what we do, and what the world will look like afterwards. I'll give you, for instance, if we look at this time and say, other people are carriers of diseases, of contagions, of germs. You can get it from other people. And you say, I'm not going to, even afterwards, I'm not going to touch anybody else. I'm going to wear a mask and gloves and keep a little right next to me all the time. And I'm not hardly ever going to go out. If that's the way that you perceive this, well, then you'll be living like in the quarantine times for a long, long time to come. But if you perceive it as, well, this is a difficult time, and I really miss contact with other people and being with people and supporting of people and holding their hand and being really close with them and listening to them. And if you're playing sports with them, going to be a part of the 4th of July fireworks with us, lots of people cheering and all singing together. I really miss being at services and singing together with everybody. And you say, you know what? I've been sheltered long enough. It's time for me to go out and really appreciate it. And you look forward to that first hug that you're going to give to somebody and how wonderful it's going to be there when this is over. But you're going to jump up and dance and hold people's hands and celebrate the oneg. I mean, you're not necessarily going to eat off of other people's plates, but you're going to really cherish it. It's going to be the way you perceive things affects it. It's that way with all kinds of things. If we say, you know, this country, the disease didn't start here, and if only we had closed our borders, it wouldn't have happened to us. And if you say, well, yeah, all right, that's what we ought to do, and you go ahead and stay closing our borders, that's one way of responding to it. Another person might say, well, you know, we're really all in this together. And if only we had reached out to other countries earlier and helped them out and shared ideas, if only we had listened to them better and confronted this not as it's a us versus them kind of thing, but we're all in this together, we would have been better off. Or the whole world would have been better off. If you take those two things, you either say, well, we need to be all by ourselves and not interact with other nations of the world and not benefit by their ideas or labor or trade, or we need to be more open to the world. Everyone will be better off because of it. How you perceive it determines what actions we take and what the future will look like. Our leaders. Do you say that our leaders are acting on selfish interests and telling lies just to promote themselves and not caring for our country? Or do you say our leaders are really strong leaders and they're giving us hope and they're telling us, oh, it'll be really good. Everything will be good. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And that's a really important thing because hope is really important. Well, how you perceive those things affects what you do. It affects what you look for in leaders. It affects whether you go out and vote or not. And I hope you do. I hope you do go out and vote. That's a very important thing. It affects who you vote for when you vote. what kind of leaders we want to have, and how we affect that. How you perceive things is real important. How do you perceive the poorer people around us? You know, they got hit. Poor people, minorities, ostracized, they got hit with this illness a whole lot worse. Do we say, oh my gosh, look at them. They're the ones, they're the germ carriers. We need to stay away from them. Bad things come from them. Don't go near them. Don't do anything with them. They're like cursed. They're bad. We don't want them. If that's how you perceive it, well, that affects what you're going to do after the pandemic. Or if you say, you know, they were really hurting bad, and we ought to appreciate what we had by helping others that don't. Maybe there were people that didn't have a place to quarantine. Maybe there was someone who was living in a small place with 10 other people, and one of them had to work in a dangerous type of a job and expose everybody else because they just didn't have another room to go to. If you feel for them, maybe we will do things differently after the pandemic. What about food? Some of you will say, oh my God, you know, you had to just eat the whatever food you can get delivered. Hallelujah for the day I'm going to go crazy gangbusters. I'm going to fill up on pizza and every kind of, we go to the ice cream place and everything else because I've gone this long without the food that I love. And some of you are going to say, well, you know, we really tried to limit and ration our food and not throw anything away. And there was something good in that. And some people are going to go out of this world and have deserved gluttony. Celebrate because hallelujah, we didn't have an opportunity to have this stuff. And others of you are going to say, well, I'm going to learn to appreciate whatever food I've got and not waste it. I'm going to try to be really frugal. It was kind of fun being frugal, eating what you got, working with what you have. That was kind of interesting. And other people are going to say, coming out of this, well, you know, you couldn't be with friends, and these are the people I really miss, so I really want to be with them more. I really want to value those relationships and be with them. How we perceive things now changes what our future will be. Our Torah tells us, it gives us lenses for how to look at this world. It gives us lenses. It says, be kind to strangers. That's how you should look at the world. It says, have a sense of wonder for this world. Be in awe of it. Say thank you as much as you can. Look at it and go, wow. If we do those things, if we perceive those things now, it will lead us to a better future and a better world. What we perceive today changes our future. And if we follow the teachings set forth in our Torah, we'll have a better future. With that,